Good morning, children. So in the last session we started about different forms of energy. We discussed about potential energy, we discussed about kinetic energy. Regarding potential energy, we got the formula, we derived this small formula, that is mgh. Regarding kinetic energy, we got the formula as half into mv square. Then we got the relation between kinetic energy and momentum. That kinetic energy and momentum we got it as P is equal to 2mk. So in this way we derive the relation for the mechanical forms of energy. So the different while discussing about the different forms of energy, first I took the topic that mechanical energy. So mechanical energy we broadly classified into potential energy and kinetic energy. Potential energy we discussed that due to its state of rest or due to its state of for a rigid body, due to the change in dimensions for a non-rigid body, we discussed about potential energy, gravitational potential energy and elastic potential energy. Then we discussed about kinetic energy, where we said that where we learned that the energy possessed by a moving body is nothing but the kinetic energy. So for that we got the formula half is equal to k is equal to half mv square. Okay. Then we established the relation between momentum and potential energy, where k is the kinetic energy, m is the mass of the body, and p is the momentum. Now in continuation with that, now let us discuss a bit about these two things and just move ahead with work energy theorem. So let us say a body of A is having a lighter mass m and a body B is having heavy mass, means body A is lighter than body B. Let us say that both has got the same momentum. Both has got same momentum. When both the bodies has got same momentum, then Ka by Kb will be equal to m by small m by capital M. Okay, so what I have done here, what you need to understand here is, when two bodies, when we are comparing two bodies, one lighter body and one heavier body, which are having the same momentum, then the kinetic energy of the lighter body will be more than the kinetic energy of the heavy body. So this is what you need to understand. The kinetic energy of the lighter body will be more than the kinetic energy of the heavy body. Then in the same way, if I take, let us say these bodies are having same K. What is same K here? Same kinetic energy. When they have same kinetic energy, then the body having more mass will be having more momentum compared to the body having lighter mass. So try to understand the thing here. When two bodies comparing about the masses, when the body that is having lighter weight, lighter mass will be having more kinetic energy than the body having more mass when the momentums are same. Here when the kinetic energies are same, the body having more mass will be having more momentum than the body having the lighter mass. So this is what you need to understand. Now let us go to the work energy theorem. So I already discussed about work energy theorem. Whenever you do some work on the body, the amount of work whatever we have done on the body will be stored as energy in the body. Okay, or let us put it in a simpler form here. The energy, the work done on the body will be stored as energy in the body. This is very simple. Now let us derive a small expression to understand this work energy theorem. Let us consider a body of mass m which is moving with the initial velocity u. Okay, let us consider a body of mass m which is moving with the initial velocity u, and I apply a force of F. When I apply a force of F in the direction of the body, then its velocity changes to v. So the body of mass m which was moving with initial velocity u, I applied a force of F in the direction of the body, then the velocity changed to v. So we know that F is equal to ma, that is mass into acceleration. This expression we know, we have studied about this expression, that is F is equal to ma. Similarly, we also know that we have learned in this chapter that work done will be equal to F into S, that is force into displacement. Okay, the first equation what I have taken, F is equal to ma, that is force is equal to mass into acceleration. Because now why we are taking acceleration here? Very simple. The velocity changed from u to v. When there is a change in velocity, then the body, we said or we understand that the body accelerated. So why the body accelerated? Because we applied a force F. Therefore, we get a relation F is equal to ma, what we have studied in our 9th standard with Newton's second law of motion. So let us take that as equation number 1. So in this chapter we have studied that work done will be equal to F into S. So where F is the force applied and S is the displacement. Okay, now we know this equation of motion, that is v square minus u square is equal to 2as. So we have this equation which we have learned in the 9th standard, that is v square, equation of motion, that is v square minus u square is equal to 2as. So rescheduling all the resetting all the quantities here, I get S is equal to v square minus u square by 2a. So let me take this as equation number 3. Now what I will do, I will substitute equation 1 and equation 3. So equation 1 is for F, equation 3 is for displacement in equation number 2. I will substitute equation 1 and equation 3 in equation number 2. When I substitute these things, I get W is equal to, that is work done is equal to F. Instead of F, what I have substituted? I have substituted ma. Instead of S, what I substituted it as v square minus u square by 2a. So when I cancel the things here, what I will be getting? Half into m into v square minus u square. I can rewrite this equation as work done is equal to half mv square minus half mu square. So where v is the final velocity and u is the initial velocity. So the body associated with this velocity, let me take it as kf, or the final kinetic energy. Kinetic energy associated with this velocity, let me take it as ki, that is kf minus ki. So the final kinetic energy minus the initial kinetic energy will give me the change in kinetic energy. Okay, change in k. So this kf minus ki will give me the change in k. That change in k is nothing but the change in kinetic energy, is nothing but the work done on the body. This is called work energy theorem. Now we have learned that the work energy or the change in energy of a body when we apply a force is nothing but kf minus ki. Okay, what is kf minus ki? That is half mv square minus half mu square, where v is the final velocity and u is the initial velocity. So this is what we have learned. Now let us study the different forms of kinetic energy. Okay, so kinetic energy, let us study the different forms of kinetic energy. So you know we have different types of motions. One is translational motion, the next one is rotational motion, the third one is vibrational motion. So on the three types of motion, we have three different types of energies or three different types of kinetic energy. That is the first one, translational kinetic energy. This is the first type of energy, translational kinetic energy. The second one is rotational kinetic energy. So the name itself is telling us what type of motion will give us what type of kinetic energy. Okay, so translational kinetic energy, rotational kinetic energy, and the third one is vibrational kinetic energy. Let us discuss in detail what is meant by translational kinetic energy, what is meant by rotational kinetic energy, and what is meant by vibrational kinetic energy. Let us start with transistor. Now just imagine a car is moving in a straight road, in a straight line. Or you have learned one chapter in 9th standard, if you remember, motion in one dimension or motion in a straight line. In that you start that you have learned about the bodies moving in a straight line. So when a body is moving in a straight line, that type of motion we call it as transitional motion or motion in a straight line. The energy associated with a body which is moving in a straight line is called as transitional motion. For example, a car moving on a straight road. Car moving in a straight road, on a straight road is a good example for transitional kinetic energy. Or say a stone is falling under the gravity, so even it will be having some energy, some kinetic energy. That energy which is that energy associated with the body which is moving in a straight line, a straight path, we call it as transitional kinetic energy. And the example I can give you, a stone falling under the gravity. The second example, a car moving on a straight line. These bodies possess transitional kinetic energy. The second type of kinetic energy we come across is rotational kinetic energy. So rotational kinetic energy is nothing but a spinning top. So when a body is in rotational motion, the energy, the kinetic energy associated with that spinning top or the body which is in rotational motion is called as rotational kinetic energy. A spinning top, okay, it is having rotational kinetic energy. So that is the best example I can give you for rotational kinetic energy. In the same way, vibrational kinetic energy. So let us just imagine a string of a guitar. So when you just pluck it, it starts vibrating. So it possesses kinetic energy due to its motion. That kinetic energy associated with that vibrating body is called as vibrational kinetic energy. In the same way, the molecules in a body, okay, they will be always in motion, vibrational motion, okay, moving to and fro. So the molecules will be having what energy? All those molecules will be having vibrational kinetic energy. So these are the three different types of kinetic energy we come across. So the first one is transitional kinetic energy, the energy associated with the body which is moving in a straight line is called as transitional kinetic energy. Rotational kinetic energy, so when a body is rotating or in rotatory motion, the energy associated with that body is called as rotational. Similarly, vibrational, when a body is vibrating, that is even a string attached to a guitar, then the molecules which will be always in vibrational motion in the body, all those bodies will be having vibrational kinetic energy. So these are the three different types of kinetic energies. Now let us discuss in the next topic, let us discuss about conversion of potential energy to kinetic energy, or conversion of one type of mechanical energy to another type of mechanical energy. So let me discuss some examples to make you understand this conversion. See, water in a dam, stored in a dam, will be always be having potential energy because it will be at a certain height. Okay, so when you let that water to move into the canals, that potential energy will be converted into kinetic energy. So the moving water, what it possesses kinetic energy. While the water which is static or which is stagnant or which is in a big pond there or big reservoir there, that will be having potential energy. So when you let that water to come out into the canals, then that potential energy of the water will be converted into kinetic energy. Okay, same way I can give you an example of bow and arrow. So what you do, you take an arrow, keep it in the bow and pull it back. So while you are pulling back, what you are doing, that is due to the elastic potential energy. So you are giving elastic potential energy to the arrow. Okay, when you release it, so the arrow starts moving in the forward direction. So that arrow, moving arrow, possesses kinetic energy. Initially what it had potential energy. What type of potential energy? Elastic potential energy. So when you release it, what will happen? It will be converted from potential energy to kinetic energy. In this way, so I told you, I think in my last session I referred at some point that the potential energy of the body cannot be used directly for our own use. Okay, or for our works to be done. So what we do, we convert that potential energy into kinetic energy to get the things done. Okay, so remember that. So we can make this mechanical energy or this potential energy useful by converting that into kinetic energy. Okay, so this is how we convert one type of mechanical energy into another type. Now let me go to the next topic. Different forms of energy, and I can still give more examples about converting this potential energy into kinetic energy. So if you have seen the old types of clocks, so where you used to give key, so by giving key, what you used to do, you used to compress the string. Okay, you used to compress the spring inside that clock or alarm. So what it will do, it will slowly convert that potential energy. You are changing the shape or size of that string. You are changing the dimension of that spring by giving key. So what you are doing, what is happening there? What is happening? So slowly that potential energy will be converted into kinetic energy. Okay, like this we can quote so many examples of conversion of potential energy into mechanical energy. Now we will go to different forms of energy. So the basic form of energy for us is the solar energy. Without sun, we can't have, or the earth can't sustain. So the solar energy, the basic energy we get from the sun, and that solar energy can be converted into different types of energy. So we'll discuss those different types of energy one by one, not in detail, but in a few lines. Okay. Here you can see I have listed different types of energy which we come across in day-to-day life. So the first one and foremost is solar energy, heat energy, okay, heat energy, light energy, chemical energy, hydro energy, electrical energy, nuclear energy, geothermal energy, wind energy, sound energy, magnetic energy, mechanical energy. We already discussed about mechanical energy, so we start discussing about each one here. Just give you a brief description about these energies, so that when we come back to the classes, we'll discuss many examples so that you will understand how one energy can be converted into another type, one type of energy can be converted into another type, and what devices we can use to convert one type of energy to another type of energy. Okay, so first I start with solar energy. See, the heat energy and light energy radiated out by the sun, okay, by its electromagnetic waves, that energy we are calling it as solar energy. But this solar energy we can't use directly to our own use. So what we use solar panels, okay, which will be painted black in general. But now after so many advances in this use of solar energy, we have got tubes, glass tubes, where maximum energy can be absorbed. Okay, and we have also got solar cells where the energy can be stored, and we have got photoelectric cell where you can convert solar energy to electrical energy directly. You have got solar furnaces where you say simple. What I can do, I can have a parabolic mirror here. So I'll allow all the light to fall onto the surface of the parabolic mirror and make the light to converge, or make that heat energy to convert at a single point where you are getting the maximum energy. So this type of device where we are converging all the solar energy into a single point, we call it as solar furnace. And you have already seen solar panels for our heating purpose, or heating of water, and you have seen solar lights which are very extensively used in as street lights, where you will be converting solar energy into light energy there. So in this way we can use this solar energy in many ways. That is nothing but solar energy. So what you need to understand here, solar energy we get in the form of electromagnetic rays. Okay, we get in the form of electromagnetic rays, and this solar energy can be converted into different types for heating the water, for cooking purposes, then for electrical purposes. So we can convert this solar energy into different types of other energies. Okay, so and remember one more thing I want to mention here. So we have one more energy, wind energy somewhere here. Okay, Wind energy. Why is this? How we are getting this wind? It's very simple. Due to the uneven heating of the earth, the air moves from one area to another area, which we call it as wind, and that wind will possess energy, and that is basically from the solar energy. Okay, so solar energy is the basic source of energy for all the energy sources on our earth or on our planet. So I should also mention the light energy what we are getting from the solar energy, which is responsible in converting the minerals and water into food. I hope you know that one. So that plants convert this light energy into food. So you are different like that. This solar energy is the basic source of energy for all the different other sources of energy. Okay, so solar energy, what you need to understand is we get it in the form of electromagnetic radiation. Okay, we use that electromagnetic radiation for our purposes through different devices like solar panels, solar cells, okay, and solar furnaces. This is about solar energy. Then coming to heat energy. I will not tell about heat energy. See, heat energy, when we burn wood or some fossil fuels in the presence of oxygen, what will happen? We get the fire, and that will give us heat energy, and this heat energy can be used for different purposes. Okay, but the best one I can give, which you can very easily understand, that when you make this petrol or one of the fossil fuels, either petrol, diesel into the IC engine or internal combustion engine, their combustion takes place where it is fired. So that energy or that heat energy will push the piston down. Okay, so converting there, the heat energy is converted into mechanical energy. Okay, like this, heat energy uses light, heat energy is used for cooking purposes. So all this way we can use this heat energy. Then coming to light energy. Light energy, as you all know, that it creates a sensation in our eyes to see the things around us, which is very important. So we can also use this light energy to convert it into electricity by using photovoltaic cell or photo cells. So where you are using the light of the solar energy, light form of the solar energy into electrical energy. So that is nothing but light energy. So chemical energy, you need to understand that when you have two electrodes and electrolytic solution, and when you pass electricity into that electrolytic solution, so the electrolytic solution breaks into ions and move towards their respective electrodes, which you have studied in your chemistry. Okay, that is nothing but chemical energy. So we are storing electricity in the form of chemical energy in our cells or batteries. So when you have combination of cells, you call it as a battery. So you are converting electrical energy into chemical energy and storing it in cells, and taking the energy out and converting and reconverting back from chemical to electrical energy whenever you need it. So that is what is your chemical energy. And hydro energy, the moving water possesses lot of energy. So we already discussed about kinetic energy. Okay, so the moving water possesses kinetic energy. That kinetic energy can be used to run a turbine. Okay, and in turn that turbine runs a generator, which in turn converts or produces electricity or induces electricity. So we are converting hydro energy into electrical energy. In the same way, we can use the hydro energy to run in industry. Actually, industrial revolution started with the hydro energy itself. So they used this moving water to move a primary wheel, which in turn moved the number of wheels in the factory. So hydro energy can be used in lot of other different ways. In the same way, I will not discuss about electrical energy more, because you already know about electricity. Moving electrons, or the rate of flow of electrons, or the rate of flow of charges, we call it as electrical energy. And this electrical energy will be converting into different other forms of energy, like heat energy, that is what we call it as heating effect of electric current. Then we convert it into magnetic energy, we call it as magnetic effect of electric current. We use this electricity and make the things to move, that is what is mechanical effect of electric current. Then we can convert this electrical energy into once again chemical energy. So that is what is conversion of electrical to chemical and chemical to electrical energy. Okay, then coming to nuclear energy. So nuclear energy is elements which are having mass number beyond 232 are highly unstable. Unstable means that nucleus will be very unstable. It will be packed with lot of neutrons there. So whenever that nucleon, when you have a nucleus like this, which is unstable, when a slow moving neutron comes and hits this heavy nucleus, why I am calling it as heavy nucleus? This nucleus is in the excess of, the mass number of this nucleus is in the excess of 232. So it is called a very heavy nucleus, which is very highly unstable. Okay, when a slow moving neutron comes and hits this heavy nucleus, so what this nucleus will do? It will absorb that nucleus and break down into two fragments of smaller mass numbers, to two smaller elements. Let me call it as smaller elements, are elements having smaller masses. So this process will continue, that is breaking down of this heavy nucleus will continue to break until it reaches that stability. So whenever this heavy nucleus breaks into two fragments, a huge amount of energy is released. That energy we call it as nuclear energy, and that process we call it as nuclear fission. Nuclear fission reaction. Okay, fission, where a heavy nucleus is bombarded with a slow moving neutron. See, you don't misunderstand here. This neutron won't go and break the nucleus actually. What is happening here is the neutron goes and the heavy neutrons absorb that neutron and it becomes more unstable. Becoming more unstable, it will break down into its two fragments of lower mass numbers. It converts into two elements of smaller mass numbers, releasing enormous amount of nuclear energy. That energy we call it as nuclear energy, and that process or that reaction we call it as nuclear fission reaction. This is about heavy nucleus. There is one more type of reaction called as fusion reaction. So what is this fusion reaction? When a lighter nuclei joins, when two lighter nuclei joins and form a heavier nuclei, okay, it releases, once again releases enormous amount of energy. That reaction is called as fusion reaction. Fusing of two lighter nuclei to form heavier nuclei is called as fusion reaction. So there is the difference between fission and fusion reaction, what it is. So here the heavier nuclei breaks down into two smaller fragments or two smaller elements. Here two lighter nuclei combine to form heavier nucleus. So in both the cases, enormous amount of energy is released, which is called as nuclear energy. And the advantage with this reaction is you can control this reaction by controlling that releasing of neutrons. You can absorb these neutrons, free moving neutrons, and control this reaction. While this reaction is yet to be controlled. Lot of research is going into this one. If this reaction is possible, if we can control this reaction, then we will get a huge amount of energy. Energy crisis can be resolved if we can control this reaction. And remember, this reaction is very clean. Means harmful elements or harmful radiations are not liberated during this reaction. While during this reaction, very harmful radiation will be liberated, like gamma rays, okay, or ultraviolet rays, which are very harmful for the humankind, which can cause the damage for generations together. And remember, these nuclear energies, both the nuclear energies can be used for constructive as well as destructive purposes. For constructive purposes, we can use this nuclear energy to convert it into electrical energy. For destructive purposes, you all know that nuclear fusion is nothing but, fission is nothing but the atomic bomb or nuclear bomb. And fusion reaction is what you call as the hydrogen bomb is called as fusion reaction. This reaction is also called as thermonuclear reaction, because the lighter nuclei to combine to form a heavier nuclei, you need lot of heat energy or millions of degrees of heat energy or temperature for the lighter nuclei to form into heavier nuclei. So this fusion reaction, if we can control this one, we can get our energy crisis can be solved. So this reaction is believed to be happening in the sun. Okay, that is about nuclear energy. Then coming to geothermal energy. So at the core of the earth, there is lot of energy or heat energy which is there. If we can tap that energy, we can very easily overcome the crisis, energy crisis on our planet Earth. That energy which is present in the core of the earth, we call it as geothermal. That heat energy, we call it as geothermal energy. There is one process actually which is being going on, or where the research is going on. So this is, let us say that this is Earth. So at the core there will be, if you send water from one pipe, and that water will be converted into high pressure steam. High pressure steam. So this heat energy can be used to convert this water to high pressure steam, and this high pressure steam can be used for our use, or we can make the high pressure steam to work, or you can convert this high pressure steam to electrical energy, okay, which is once again a very clean form of energy. Okay, this is what is your geothermal energy. So wind energy, I already told you, due to the uneven heating of the earth, the air from one part of the world moves to another part of the world, so making it wind, and that wind will be possessing kinetic energy. That energy can be used to convert it into electrical energy. So we can use this wind energy to convert it into electrical energy. As you have seen, already seen windmills which are installed on the top of the hills, where you have used very big fans, okay, to make the fans move using wind energy, and that movement of the fan is connected to a generator, which in turn converts or produces or induces electrical energy. So sound energy I will not tell you. So sound can travel through the medium or the air, so which will create sensation of sound on our ears. So I can give very high bass sound, or very high sound, volume of the sound can even break the window panes, which you have seen in some movies. Very high sound. So we can, from that scenes we can see that sound is also a form of energy. So as I already told you, this magnetic energy can be converted into mechanical energy. So when you have a current carrying conductor in a magnetic field, it experiences a force, and that mechanical energy has enabled us to devise or have devices like fans, mixies. So it is only due to this magnetic energy. And last but not the least, we have already studied about mechanical energy, okay, where we have studied about kinetic energy, we have studied about potential energy. Okay, so these are the different types of energies we come across in our day-to-day life. And in the next session, I will discuss a small bit about the conversion of energies, these energies from one form to another form. We will discuss about devices which converts. We see it in our day-to-day life. The only thing we need to understand from which form of energy to which form of energy it is getting converted. We will understand those things and move to the problem section. So this is a session for today. Thank you.